the situation in which this economy is. Now all those who contributed to the mess are trying to run away as if they were not part of it. People have begun saying, oh, they were not in charge, they were not listening to them and all that. All of them, they inside. Jack Toronto and all his small brothers, all of them are part of the mess that we're going through. None of them can escape responsibility, none of them. Because they've all been a part of this. They all sat in cabinet together. They all took those decisions together. Anytime they were going to borrow from the Eurobond market, they approved it in cabinet. They sat in cabinet and approved it. In 6 years, you went and borrowed $13.5 billion and you did nothing with it. So today you can't come and tell us you are not part of it. All of them are part of the mess in which we find ourselves. And Ghanaians are going to send them packing for the hardship that they've inflicted on us, for the debt that they've swallowed us in. And they must go home and go and learn their lesson. NDC is coming back, winning this election, and we have the men and women that are going to restore this country's economy and finances back to a healthy condition. And let me put this thing to rest once and for all. They always talk about the mess John Mahama left us, the economic mess he left us. I mean, let's just go down a comparison lane. When I left office, the debt to GDP was 57%. Today, the debt to GDP is more than 100%. It means if you take all Ghana's GDP and you turn it into money, you use it to pay all our debts and you still owe 3%. Our debt to GDP was 57%. And the optimum GDP for middle income countries that is recommended by the IMF is 60%. So we're even under the recommended debt to GDP. When we left office, the budget deficit was 6.6%. Today, the budget deficit, it even went to 15%. It has now started dropping. When we left office, inflation was 15.5%. Inflation under this government went to 54%. And is only now dropping. It's about 30%. When we left office, cocoa production was 960,000 metric tons. And we went for syndication loan of $1.8 billion, brought $1.8 billion into this country. Today, cocoa production is under 500,000 tons. And when they went for syndication, they got only $800 million at 8%. We got $1.8 billion at 2%. And so what are you talking about? You can't compare the economy under us. When we left office, we gave you 2 new oil fields. All the work that we did as NDC was with one oil field, the Jubilee field. We worked and brought the 10th field and the Sankofa field into production. And so it made oil revenues triple. When we left office, we had solved Dumso. We bought enough generation. We established ESLA to pay the legacy debt. Today, Dumso is back. You can't pay the independent producers. And all of you know Dumso is back, just that they don't want to announce a timetable. Yesterday when I came to Tamale, the lights were off the whole day. And so, this thing they keep saying, Mahama left a mess, we came and repaired your mess. Before I left office, the IMF said that Ghana's economy was going to grow by 8%. And it grew by 8% and more in 2017. And in 2018, it dropped. When their own policies started kicking in, you look at the GDP growth rate. From the high of 8% that they inherited from me, the next year it went to 6 point something, 5 point something, until when COVID hit, it went to 0. So that myth about you left us a mess, you left us a mess. When you came into office, the Kufuor Eurobond was left with 270 million to pay. Where did you get that money to pay? Mahama left it in the sinking fund because I knew that debt was coming up. That was visionary because I knew that if a new government came, it was going to be difficult to find 270 million at once to pay off the Kufuor Eurobond. So we left it in the sinking fund. They came and met it. In October, they just took it and paid the Eurobond. And after that, they didn't put any money in the sinking fund again. That's why when COVID hit, we had no money to defend ourselves. I set up the stabilization fund. When COVID hit, they didn't know where to find money. We told them, go and look in the stabilization fund. I left money in there. Went and took 300 million, from the stabilization fund. I set up the Ghana Investment Infrastructure Fund. The Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund. And I put $270 million seed money in that fund. Today, that's what you are using to build your Agenda 111 hospitals. So how can I have left you a mess? They are good at propaganda. And so they just keep repeating something. Oh, we came and met your mess. We came and met your mess. In 2016, for the first time in Ghana's history, we ran the government budget without taking 1 cedi from the Bank of Ghana. 0 borrowing from Central Bank. You in 2021, 42 billion you made Central Bank print for you. The following year, 2022, 35 billion you made Central Bank print for you. And that is why today Central Bank is broke. Because it made a loss of more than 60 billion cedis. When I was president, Central Bank made a profit of more than 1 billion cedis. And so that propaganda must stop once and for all. You didn't inherit a mess. You inherited an economy that was doing well. It is you, by your mismanagement, your clueless finance minister, and your clueless head of economic management team who now wants to run away from economic issues to become the champion of digitalization. It is they who have created this mess. And you cannot run away from what you've done. Today they tell us the economy is turning the corner. It is not turning any corner. The IMF has come to say that Ghana's debt is still unsustainable and it's in a distressed situation. The good thing our people have, our friends in the MPP, is they know how to talk. They are very glib talkers. They are good at showing propaganda. And they believe that at any time they can talk and convince the people of Ghana. But we are the wiser now. All the things they did, the promises they made, they have not kept one of them. How many people's districts have a factory? After the one district, one factory promise. How many districts here have a factory? Even the ones that have, there's nothing there. Those in Waliwali district, there's a factory there, watermelon. There's no equipment in the factory. Is the building going to process the watermelon? You need machines to process the watermelon. At least in my district, Bole district, we have no factory there. There is no intention of building any factory. One village, one dam. They came and dug some small ponds. Even when cows drink the water, the water finishes. And so they can't deceive us this time. They can't deceive us this time. Ghanaians are the wiser. Yet Isikasu it won't work again. I worked in Bank of Ghana. I know the money is there. Today, where is that money? And so, all those who have spoken, I want to thank you. We've recorded everything you've said. And I can assure you that when we come, NDC has the men and women. We're going to resuscitate this economy. We're going to get the economy back on its feet so that we can have peace and progress in our country. We want to change the narrative so that we will no longer sing Samanole, Samanole, Samanole. We want to make sure that Ghanaians prosper and are able to feed themselves and live a life of decency and prosperity. I thank you all very much.